welcome to Mother, the series where the fate of the human race and possibly the entire universe are in the hands of 3 special kids with striped shirts, 2 absolute nerds, 2 blonde girls with something for baseball caps, a pink-haired tomboy, a thief, Elvis the gang leader, a Tibetan prince, and a dog. Yep, those seem like the perfect team to me. Hello everyone, my name is Hansoldier and welcome to a new video. You may have heard about the cult RPG EarthBound, where you take control of Ness and his friends and save the world. You've also seen both Ness and Lucas in Smash Bros. In Sprawl, but you may not be fully familiar with their stories or not even know them at all. I don't blame you. Of the 80 plus characters in Ultimate, literally 24 come from RPGs. It's a lot to track. So let's do a little dive into the history of the series before we start looking at almost every nook and cranny the games have to offer. The Mother series, also known as EarthBound in the West, is a trilogy of turn-based RPGs, really famous for beginning their development cycle towards the end of the target console's lifespan. Mother 1, known as only Mother in Japan, was released in 1989 for the Famicom and was mostly an Eastern exclusive title until 2015, when the English version, EarthBound Beginnings, came to the Wii U Virtual Console and released worldwide. I say mostly Eastern exclusive because the prototype English localization was made very shortly after, but wasn't released due to RPGs not being very popular in the West, and also due to some development issues. Only 1,000 cartridges were made, some of them making their way to the internet as ROMs in 1988. This is the reason the game has also EarthBound Zero as one of its names, even though this one isn't official. This game was developed by Ape Inc., originally created by Shigesato Itoi, along with Tsunekazu Ishihara and Hirokazu Tanaka. The sequel to Mother is called Mother 2, Geige's Counterattack in Japan, but as Western people know it simply as EarthBound. It released in 1994 in Japan for the Super Famicom, 1995 in the US for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and 2013 in Europe for the Wii U Virtual Console. This game was also developed by Ape, starting development as soon as Mother 1 was completed. Due to the long development cycle, Satoru Iwata, one of the founders of HAL Laboratory, voluntarily involved himself to help finish the game. It was a success in Japan. In the US, was a bit of a commercial failure, mostly because of a $2 million advertising campaign that didn't promote the game as a very positive thing by accident.
Alright, here we go. Oh god, that's bad.
Let me try this.
Help 4 Wonder Kids save the planet from hideous destruction. Venture through 8 mysterious levels to gain power and put an end to the interstellar threat. Beware, the ultimate test is the encounter with the powerful Geiges. Save the planet in EarthBound from Nintendo.
This is what prevented the game from releasing in Europe until Smash Bros. Came into play, making a positive impact on its Virtual Console release. Soon after the game was completed, Ape dismantled and then reformed as Creatures Inc. Mother 3 was developed by Brownie Brown, now known as 1UP Studio, and HAL Laboratory, and released in 2006 for the Game Boy Advance, only for Japan. This game was originally planned for the SNES, but was so delayed that they decided to move on to Nintendo 64 with the name EarthBound 2, and was later cancelled due to more delays. This led to the Game Boy Advance development and its subsequent release. This game hasn't left Japan because of mature themes. I will make a point on this at the end of the video, don't you worry. Even though Lucas has been smashed in Sprawl. Also, the site starman.net made a fan translation of the ROM in 2008, last updated in 2014, making it playable in English for the entire world. The story of all 3 games is quite interesting, and it's also connected together. I won't spoil too much, but I'll say what I have to. EarthBound Beginning starts with a prologue that tells us the events happening before the game, which summarizes to A couple named George and Maria that lived in the city of Pollyanna got abducted by aliens in the 1900s. They raised an alien child called Gyges, and then George escaped somehow to Earth and started studying some kind of mystical powers called psionics, PSI for short. Skip to the 80s, somehow 3 generations after, and we get George's great-grandson, Linton, whose house gets a little poltergeist problem, making him discover a music box hidden inside a doll that plays a somehow familiar melody to him. Soon after, his father calls, telling him that he knows about the ghost's sudden appearance, and also he speaks to him about George's story and how he is the one that will save the world because he can use PSI. After a little travel and getting some more weird songs from birds and a monkey, he finds a cave with a pink obelisk that teleports him to Magicant, a realm made of pink clouds and green rivers, where its queen named Mary tells him that the 3 songs he collected are part of a song she can't remember fully, asking Linton to bring back the entire song so she can sing it again. What he doesn't know is that those melodies are the key to uncovering something way bigger than he could have imagined before. EarthBound is a bit more complex, and by a bit I mean a lot, as the games in the SNES actually cared about story and not just gameplay in the prologue. This tale is set in the 1990s in the country of Eagleland. We met Ness, an 11-year-old boy that is woken up by a meteorite crash near his home. As any normal child of his age, he decides to go out there and see it for himself, but is stopped by the police and his neighbor Porky, or Pokey as the translation's errors state, who tells him to go back. Later that night, Porky asks Ness help finding his brother Picky, who was asleep near the meteor. They prepare to go back when an ominous beam of light appears on the meteor, revealing one of the strongest warriors of the future. An insect named Buzz Buzz that tells Linton about a future destroyed by Gygas, and says that he is the one who can stop them. Buzz Buzz fucking dies slapped by Porky's mom, but before he leaves this plane of existence, he then gives Ness the Soundstone to record the memories of the 8 York Sanctuary locations, 8 destinations he has to visit to awaken the power necessary to defeat Gygas once and for all. Skip forward to lost spoilers and things, and we find Porky actually helping Gygas rule the universe. But he also bails as soon as Ness gets very close to defeating this unknowingly powerful evil. Model 3 has a hell of a story. I'd say a bit more than most games in the early 2000s. It starts on the peaceful town of Tasmily, in the Nowhere Islands. We meet a family consisting of Flint, Inawa, Lucas, Klaus, and Bonnie, who live peacefully until an army of weird guys wearing pig masks, the Pig Mask Army, commanded by none other than Porky Minch himself, decides to set everything on fire and start experimenting with living beings creating chimeras. Flint is woken up by one of the villagers that tells him about the fire in the forest and that his sons and wife haven't returned to the village after spending the day with Alec, his father-in-law. After rescuing the boy and climbing a mountain with the help of his dog and the local thief Duster, he finds a piece of red cloth. Soon after, his sons are carried by the river. Once he finds them safe, he is informed of Inawa's death by a Drago. He goes in a bit of a rage and then gets the experience to be the first guy in Tasmily's jail. He is set free by his son Klaus, who tells him that he is going to avenge his mother. Then, after setting up with Alec, Flint goes to the mountain to meet the Magipsies, a race of androgynous beings, nor beast, nor human, nor man, nor women, that tells him that Klaus went back to the nearest plateau to hunt the Drago. He's nowhere to be found though, as only his shoes remain. We skip through Duster infiltrating a castle to steal something important, fail, and then go back with his brother Wes. Then they find a girl named Kumatora, the princess of Asohe. And finally, they find an egg that seems very important. In the process, Duster becomes missing. After this, the Pig Mask Army, along with this Arab-looking guy named Facade, whose abused monkey Salsa got rescued by Wes, Kumatora, and Lucas, bring the worst of evils to Tasmily. Something so powerful that it has become unstoppable: capitalism. Skip forward to an amnesic Duster being rescued by Lucas, Bonnie, and Kumatora, finding the egg in a dumpster and whatnot, and we get to a completely different plot. We see Iolia, one of the Magipsies, dissolved into nothingness because one of the 7 needles was pulled. The needles are powerful locks that seal the Dark Dragon, a being so powerful it had to be sealed by the ancestors of the Magipsies, letting the 7 guard the needles. It is said that only the one able to learn PK Love can pull the needles. Lucas knows this technique, but a mysterious masked man also seems to, as he was the one to pull Iolia's needle. Now there is a race on who can pull the most needles and awaken the dragon. Whether it's a pure heart or a corrupted one, it's up to Lucas and friends.